More crashes happen in winter than any other season, so why aren't people slowing down during snowy conditions? We'll talk winter driving safety in this half hour, plus
wellness calls and suicides are on the rise across the country and in Minnesota. We'll tell you about a local organization providing mental health services for those in need.
Hello and welcome to Lake Area Beat. I'm Tracy Minarchek.
And I'm Kurt Friesen. In case you can't tell, we're inside the warm and cozy White Bear Country Inn. We'll hear from owner Bill Foussard later about the sky-high tradition he started here in his hotel.
But first, speaking of tradition, how is your New Year going? Did you make any New Year's resolutions?
It's going good. No official resolutions, but as I'm finding out here, one of them should be to read the script before I show up and maybe prepare a little bit, save everyone some time. So
No, I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, we've only been here 3 hours so far.
Yeah, right?
No,
yeah.
I'm kidding.
Yeah. We'll shorten it up next time, I promise.
Perfect. And yet another tradition here in White Bear Lake is the annual polar plunge.
Every year, hundreds of plungers jump into White Bear Lake to raise money for the Special Olympics of Minnesota. As we found out, there was an extra chill in the air this year. Take a look.
While hundreds of plungers prepare to jump into White Bear Lake on a day barely breaking single digits,
Not even cold today.
White Bear Lake reservist Jim Kvitrud has been on the clock for hours, directing traffic in the bitter cold.
Sometimes you have to wing it.
He's among dozens of reservists from metro agencies dispatched to work the event. And though attendance is down due to the cold,
Sir, go ahead.
his sense of humor seems to have hit a high note.
Well, I was kid in the reserves. They started full pay. But then my other joke is we get double time after midnight and double time when it's below zero. I'm 85% Norwegian and the rest is Scandinavian.
Kvitrud's passion for service, he says, comes from his parents, a commitment to community he's passed on to his own children.
I feel rewarded, but I also feel like I'm doing a good job for the community. And my coworkers are my brothers and sisters, it really is. It's a family, I didn't realize that initially.
Love of service is the sentiment echoed among many reservists, including Justin Van Hallinger.
Are you gonna drive under the ice or no?
He's been a Cottage Grove Reserve for 9 years and worked the White Bear Lake Plunge for the last 6.
I mean, time flies when you're having fun, so I enjoy doing this. Like I said, I've been doing this 9 years. I love what I do as a reserve. I love giving back to our community and helping out with other communities as well.
The reserves, who are focused on their task at hand, say they pay little attention to what's happening lakeside, content to direct cars and plungers where to go.
Hi there. Are you gonna go in the lake too?
She wishes she could go with her parents, but
You just try to be nice about it because treat others like you want to get treated.
The event typically raises over $200,000 in White Bear Lake. So thanks to all those who plunged, volunteered, and donated.
White Bear Lake police officer John Sanders started his law enforcement career as an explorer, realizing at a young age that becoming an officer was in his calling.
Our production crew took a ride with him recently and discovered why he loves the job and White Bear Lake.
I've known I wanted to be a police officer since I was about 10, 12 years old. Just every time I would be out playing sports, my parents would tell you best that I would hear a siren or see a police car drive by, and I'd stop everything that I was doing and I would look and watch the police car drive by, and and so I I've always had aspirations to be in law enforcement. As I got older and as I started to explore the career more through the Law Enforcement Explorer program, through the Ramsey County Sheriff's Office, I actually became an explorer when I was 13 and did that until I was 19. And as I went through this program, I learned more and more how much law enforcement was my calling. Mom worries a lot. Yeah, it was very hard for her at first when I first became an officer. I'm gonna make a traffic stop here and we'll have a chat with this driver regarding how fast they were going. 92.73 traffic. Do you know what the speed limit is on Bel Air?
I think 35.
It's 30. It's 30 mile an hour stretch, yep.
Yep.
Do you know how fast you were going?
35, 40.
Had you had 45.
45.
45 coming northbound, so a little fast,
Yeah, sorry.
especially residential neighborhood.
Yep. Grew up here, so
Grew up here? Okay. How's your driving record?
perfect.
Okay. In this instance, the registered owner who is driving the vehicle is a valid driver in the state of Minnesota, and he does in fact have no violations. So he is being completely honest with me. He is truthful. He said he has never been pulled over. He said he's never gotten a citation, and this driver's license query is showing that. I just want you to slow down. So here's your license back.
Yep.
Thanks for your
Thank you, sir.
cooperation. Have a really good day. Okay.
You too.
Your incident has been updated.
I would argue that our job, we get lied to the most than any other job. And it's just it's kind of the nature of law enforcement is people don't want to admit to what they did wrong, or they're afraid of the consequences. In a lot of relationships, you have a wall, and the more you become comfortable with someone, the longer you know them, the wall comes down a little bit. And for me especially, that wall is higher than ever, and it's harder for me to lower it. And you meet someone and you hold them to such a higher standard because you have been lied to, and because you don't always trust someone until you prove the trust. It's never the same dude twice, and that's really the neat aspect of law enforcement. Is it's always a new day. It's always helping someone new. I grew up here, and I know that it's the best community in Minnesota, and so I'm very happy here and partial to White Bear Lake, and I wouldn't change a thing.
Thanks to John for letting our crew tag along. We're going to take a break, but coming up,
A local entrepreneur set his sights high while establishing an annual tradition in White Bear Lake. We'll hear how he drew a sold-out crowd.
Now that the holidays are over and you're returning your unwanted gifts, make sure you're not leaving them in your car or anything else that you don't want taken. Criminals look for crimes of opportunity, and leaving valuables in your vehicle is an easy score, especially if you leave it unlocked. Fortunately, in White Bear Lake, we have a senior group called Triad. They search community parking lots looking for unlocked cars with visible items and leave a note of caution on your windshield. If you don't plan to carry your purse with you, secure it in your trunk before you get to your destination. Also, in these winter months, don't leave your car running unattended. You could get a ticket, or worse, your ride may disappear. These few easy tips could save you a big headache. I'll see you next time.
wellness calls are up in White Bear Lake, and suicide is on the rise in Minnesota and nationally.
Winter can be a especially challenging time for folks, but help is available. Jerry Hermatka from Northeast Youth and Family Services in White Bear Lake joins us to talk about some mental health services.
As we mentioned, we're taping at White Bear Country Inn, and we're poolside on a day when it's 27 below zero air temp.
Yes, so thank goodness we're not outside, and thank you for being here poolside. We appreciate it.
Our pleasure.
Now, Jerry, tell me just a little bit about yourself and what's your role at the Northeast Youth Services?
I am what's called the president and CEO of Northeast Youth and Family Services. So my job is to oversee the operations and work with community and work with our board.
And we've worked with the police department has worked with the White Bear Lake Counseling Center
Yep.
which you've merged with
Yep.
since
Yep.
2012.
Yep, there were 4 of these youth service bureaus that date back to the 70s. Northeast Youth and Family Services was one, the White Bear Community Counseling Center was another, and in 2012 they merged with us to then create what we now call Northeast, because we now serve the Northeast area rather than just Northwest Ramsey County.
And how does your organization help the community altogether?
You know, we were talking about that as we were getting ready, and there's a lot of different pieces to us, and even new board members that come say it takes a while to learn. So let me there's 3 main areas. One is we do mental health counseling. We work with all ages, but primarily it's with youth. And from the beginning, we've always believed that you've got to work with youth, you've got to work with their context of their lives, their family, their community. And so we do a lot with youth and their families. We also then have a diversion program, which is how we got started. Diversion for us helps kids realize they crossed the line. They did something wrong. But what we also do is we believe that kids need to say yes to something positive. And that's why Just Say No, if you remember that from the 70s, that didn't work because we weren't helping kids say yes to things. So we work with kids who are low-level first-time offenders. We also have another program called Senior Chore, where the state and everybody knows that if seniors age in their homes, they have a better quality of life. So we go in and we connect kids and adults with seniors to do those chores, those things around the house they can't do anymore. And so those are the 3 main programs that we do to help serve the community.
And so the police department has been involved with diverting kids, like you said, instead of going to jail or doing something, they help out in the community. And the seniors that need stuff to be fixed or raked or whatever in their house. And then mental health also. And you serve the whole community for mental health issues that people have. And I really like how you take a whole community-based approach to it and helping each other. And you said some things earlier to me off the camera about mental illness. And one story you said about somebody going to the hospital and receiving flowers if they're injured.
Yes. The whole stigma, if you will, about mental health is changing. It used to be, and in some circles it still is, oh, there's something wrong with you. It's a character fault. But the story that you were referencing is a person I know who went to the hospital for an appendectomy, and she got flowers and she got get well cards. And a few years later, she needed to be hospitalized to help move her along with her mental health issues. And nobody said anything to her. And so it's that whole thing of, oh, let's not talk about it. People are starting to talk about it now. And I think part of that is also us as the folks who are in the industry, we've changed as well. And especially NYFS, we believe what we do is called solution oriented. We believe people want to do well. We believe people are doing the best they can. It's not that something's wrong with you, it's that what are you doing? And so even something as simple as if we meet with someone, we don't go, well, what's your problem? Because then we're focusing on your problems. Our question is, how do you want it to be? What are your goals? What are your aspirations? How would you like it to be in your relationships? And it's interesting, it's sometimes hard to get people to think that way, but what we find is just by talking about how you want it to be, the other things come up, the barriers, and it's a different way of working with it. And so I think that's the part that we do is it's a solution-oriented, it's a community-based approach. We don't think we have a magic wand where we can wave and people get better. It's helping people be connected to and be a part of community. And that goes back to our roots when we got started because the municipalities came together to get us going with diversion. And then even when we partnered with White Bear Community Counseling Center, it was all about community. The 15 municipalities, and this is the piece I'd like people to know, there's 15 municipalities that we support us and we partner with. And we guarantee that any resident in those 15 municipalities can have mental health, diversion, or senior chore regardless. It's this partnership again. And the 50 municipalities, those people are allowed to have representation on our board. So it really is about this collaboration together. So I'm sorry, I got going a little bit there. It's a simple question.
No, that's good.
But I think that's what it is here. And that's what we're trying to do is we see isolation as a big issue. Whether it's a senior living in their home, whether it's a youth that doesn't feel as though they have somewhere to go in life, whether it's a family that's overwhelmed with things in their lives, they kind of pull in. And what we really want to do is we want people to reach out and to find resources in the community. And that's what we do is we partner with them to help them reach out to get the fortitude and skills, as we call it, to be successful.
And what's important is they don't need to be referred to you.
No.
They can just come and check you out, right? They don't need a referral from the police department or from the ambulance service or anything.
go on our website, nyfs.org, check us out, and think of this as you would going to buy a car. Come in and just meet with us. And that's what we'll do in the first time, is explain to you how we operate, talk with you about what you're looking for, see if there's a match between those two things. So we do need referrals from the police department for diversion,
Right.
But we do take referrals from schools, from people, from whatever. Yeah, check us out. And if we can't help you, what we'll do then is we'll connect you with someone that can help you out.
And if you want to help people, I'm guessing you take volunteers that will
and
gladly
that's,
step up with
you know,
services or
especially,
support.
She's great. The big one for us is our senior chore. We serve about 150 seniors a year, and we do what are called routine chores, going in and cleaning and whatever. But we also do some seasonal cleanups, raking, and in the spring. And we'll have over 600 volunteers. And the piece and this is where this is really cool. There's an organization here, and I'm just going to call them out by name. It's the, I'm going to blow it, Chuck, I'm sorry, but it's Caldwell Burnett Realty, okay? And they've been partnering with us. And what they see is it's a great team builder for their folks to go out. They feel good about helping someone. The seniors feel good about it because they get to come in. And the community feels better because then folks who have elderly people aren't concerned about getting help out. So it's one of those win-win for everybody.
Right.
So we're looking for volunteers. We can't really have volunteers when it comes to mental health services. What we are doing though is we're developing a new program about getting kids connected, and we're going to be looking at getting mentors and adults in the community so that we can connect kids to that. Because that's what we're seeing is for a lot of kids, they don't have a sense of hope. They don't have that sense of connectedness. And then they go on social media and they see their peers saving the world, and they don't realize that that's staged. And then they go, I must really be adult if I'm sitting here and I'm not doing anything. Well,
Right.
we're trying to change that.
Perfect.
It's a community approach.
So they should go on to your website,
Go on our website.
and check, because you're always evolving and changing and adding
Yes.
new things.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah,
We
my
appreciate it.
pleasure. My pleasure.
Thank you. For more information, go to nyfs.org.
Every year during winter driving events, the number of crashes and spinouts increase dramatically. By following a few basic rules, you can save yourself a lot of trouble.
Here's some advice as we go to break.
When you're driving a car, it's not the place to be looking at your phone or sending an email or checking out the latest score, responding to a text. It's truly distracting, and there's studies that have shown that even taking your eyes off the road for 2 seconds, you miss a lot. If you had trouble getting through it, law enforcement and emergency services are going to have as much difficulty getting to you. And so I always tell people, just plan ahead, be prepared, and think of things that you wouldn't normally pack in your car that you may need if something happens that you weren't planning for.
Well, we're staying warm inside the hotel today, and now it's time to hear from the man who has big ideas and even bigger personality.
Bill Foussard, owner of the White Bear Country Inn and Rudy's Red Eye Grill, took us on a tour of the hotel and explained why he's so invested in this community.
When people do want to work together and they care about the town and care about each other, you can accomplish anything.
Spending time with entrepreneur Bill Foussard, you quickly learn he has a passion for community, his integrity reflected in the way he treats his staff.
Thank you.
And though he's slow to accept credit for his many accolades,
Hotel of the Year award right here.
he's quick to acknowledge the people he credits with driving his success.
Steve, the rooms are looking nice. Thanks for getting the walls. Yeah.
Growing up in St. Paul, he summered in White Bear Lake with his family, eventually building his business here, always striving to improve and open to asking how.
Let's ask our residents and the shareholders, or residents are the shareholders, what are we looking for? And you listen and you go back and say, hey, this is what is good for our community.
Foussard was crowned King Boreas in 2008, helped get the governor's fishing opener to White Bear Lake in 2009, and was part of the group who helped White Bear Lake win the distinction of being named the best town in Minnesota by Minnesota Monthly Magazine.
I love the people, I love this town. I love it's a gift. People help each other here.
Foussard seems to constantly be in motion, having his hands in nearly every aspect of his hotel and restaurant operations.
It's a team effort.
And in keeping with his love of movement, his idea of a moving bear 4 years ago came to fruition this New Year's Eve, high up top Rudy's rooftop bar.
I just kept thinking, hey, what about White Bear? Let's drop a bear. And where's the right spot to drop it? One time I was really thinking right downtown, but if we're taking care of it and stuff, why not incorporate it into Rudy's and White Bear Country Inn?
By all accounts, the dropping of the bear at midnight played out before a huge crowd, people packing the sold-out hotel, restaurant, and bar, and the surrounding parking lots just to get a glimpse. Foussard says he'll dress the bear in costume year-round, though it will become a tradition for it to drop at the stroke of midnight every New Year. And with every new year, he hopes to bring another new tradition to the town he loves.
It'll be interesting to see what he comes up with next year. Not sure how you outdo dropping a bear.
I know, but he's pretty creative, and we'd like to give Bill Foussard a big thank you for letting us use his space for this edition of Lake Area Beat.
That's all the time we have for this month's show. Make sure you check out our Facebook page where you can watch Lake Area Beat again and again.
And again and again. And like us. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
You hear just excuse after excuse on traffic stops for just human nature is you don't want to take responsibility, you don't want to take blame for your actions, and we all want second and third chances, and so it's a tough question, and some of them that stick with me are the ones that say they have to use the restroom really bad, and you'd be surprised how often it happens. Oh, officer, I'm really sorry, I was just speeding because I really have to use the restroom.
Do you think you'd be doing it if you weren't a police officer?
Well, when I was 8, I wanted to be a school bus driver, but
They'll see me kind of do a little bit of a shake dance every so often, just kind of warm up and get the blood flowing, but for the most part, no. I have to have some dignity. Because when everybody sees the video, they'd make fun of me, and I can't have that.
Ian from Fox News, he's hosting it, so, you know, they think, oh, you get to meet him, right? Yeah, but they got to meet me.
Yeah, it's just licking the road.
Driving safe. You're getting a shot. 1. Hello? Stop people in the bathroom.
Promise, guys, it's gonna get better.
When you start from the bottom.
We're going to take a break, but coming up. There completely. It makes sense.
I have the giggles now, and he doesn't help me any.
We're going to take a break, but coming.
If you could just take a step away.
Thanks to John for letting our crew tag along. I don't know what's funny about that. Is there something I don't know about that?